Hey, KAIJU here. Today let's talk about Endless Waltz. It's been so long since last time I watched it. It's still pretty good. I think the art still holds up, but the story didn't age so well. It was a pretty wild ride. Let's get right into it. The movie begins at the end of the TV series, in the year after Colony 195. Xmas Eve. It's X because it's cooler than spelling out Christmas. The story begins with a recap of the final battle from the TV series. During the recap, they also showcase the updated design of the main Gundams. They look amazing, but I've always thought it's very confusing. I wanted to watch Endless Waltz because I wanted to figure out how they went from the TV design to the Katoki design. I remember buying VCDs from eBay at the time. That's right, VCDs. It's late 90s, early 2000s. And I just wanted to know the story because the toys are so cool. But it turns out they just never bother explaining the change in design. But oh well, they look even better than before, so no complaints. So even though the Gundams look completely different, Endless Waltz is actually a direct sequel to the Gundam Wing TV series. In addition to that, there are bits of flashbacks explaining the events before the TV series, which is quite interesting too. The story begins after the recap in the year AC 196, 1 year after the final battle of the TV series. It's been peaceful for a year since the end of the war. 4 of the 5 Gundam pilots decided to send their Gundams to the sun to be destroyed. They don't think they need them anymore. Now that it's been peaceful for a year, all 4 of them send their Gundams, except for Wu Fei, which I would consider a major red flag right off the bat. But anyways, I feel like these guys just looking for any chance they get to destroy their Gundams. Duo, the most popular Gundam pilot by an official poll, and Katra, the least popular Gundam pilot by the official poll, bid farewell to their Gundams. Everyone celebrates peace on Xmas Eve, but the Preventers, who's in charge of preventing conflicts, finds a suspicious alloy that foreshadows what's about to happen. I just want to say, it feels like the Preventers are always short on staff. There's always only like 1 or maybe 2 people at most working at a time, so definitely don't expect much from them. Relina, who's now a foreign minister, is on a diplomatic mission on a newly built colony. By herself. She just shows up with no bodyguards, no entourage, not even a best friend, and of course she's totally drugged and kidnapped. Turns out this new colony is run by a brat and an old guy. They plan on taking over the world, and they have a huge number of mobile suits called the Serpents. See, I told you, the Preventers aren't doing their job. Meanwhile, Trowa, who's working in a circus, noticed that there are people following him. He beats them up with karate, and we're treated with a flashback of his origin story. Either that or the #MeToo moment. You be the judge, take a look. We find out before the war he was working as a nameless mechanic on the heavy arms, and Marimaya is the name of the brat that plans on taking over the world. We learn a bit more about her as Hiro does some casual hacking on Christmas Eve. Look at all those numbers. We find out that she's part of the Barton family, and that's about it. Hiro finishes hacking and leaves to save kidnapped Relina. Meanwhile, Troa infiltrated the Marimaya army, but was discovered almost immediately. Maybe he should have cut his hair. He went on to assassinate the old guy with his circus clown skills, but was stopped by Wu Fei. Nobody knows why. I would say Wu Fei is probably the most irrational character in Endless Waltz. There's really not much to like about him, in my opinion. You would think that he has a good reason to join the opposition, or that he's undercover or something. But no, we'll find out later he's 100% serious. But anyways, now that Troa is caught thanks to Wu Fei, the assassination failed, the old guy is gonna send an army of mobile suits to Earth, which Relina wakes up, and Marimaya explains her plan. She's kind of like the annoying version of Minerva Zabi from the Universal Century timeline. She claims to be the daughter of Trades Kushinada, and she wants to take over the world, believing that's her late father's wishes. Meanwhile, Duo and Hiro are on the way to the colony to rescue Relina. Katra freaks out and blames himself for sending the Gundams to the sun, and I agree with them. That was totally unnecessary. So Katra decides to intercept the Gundams before they reach the sun. Duo and Hiro takes off with the rescue mission. On the way to the colony, we're treated with both Duo and Hiro's flashback origin story. We find out that Duo plans on blowing up the Death Scythe even before the series started. He kept referring himself as a god of death and wars as parties, which is kind of cringe and a red flag. Hiro blew up a military facility and accidentally killed a little girl and a cute puppy. Not really important information in my opinion, but I guess it shows the human side of them a little bit. Marimaya soon declare war against Earth, 6 Xeon style, and the Preventers are freaking out because they didn't do their job and they should have hired more people. Zex Marquis walks in and demands to be called the Wind. Get this, because he's gonna be the wind that's going to put out the fires. I don't even know where to start with this one. It's kind of embarrassing. If somebody said that to me, I'm just gonna walk out the room and go home. But anyways, Zax joined the Preventers. It's probably a good thing because they're short on staff. They now have 4 people instead of 3. Hiro and Duo infiltrate the colony. They kill a bunch of soldiers on their way in, and after they split up, Duo runs into a serpent piloted by Trowa. Duo claims that he recognized Trowa's fighting style, but the fighting style is just him shooting straight ahead. And then Hiro runs into Wu-Fei in the Nataku. Understandably, he was like, what the hell are you doing, Wu-Fei? Why the hell are we fighting? And I agree, it doesn't make sense at all. Now play Wu-Fei's response here, you can judge it for yourself.
I'm asking if you guys are doing the right thing!
After getting a confusing answer, Hiro proceeds to ask Wu-Fei to self-destruct.
Wu-Fei, press the detonation switch!
Not once, but twice. I think self-destruct seems to be the go-to solution for these spy Gundam pilots. It's like, whenever they face a difficult situation, they would go, you know what? Maybe I should self-destruct. That sounds like a good idea. But anyways, Trowa secretly allows Duo and Hiro escape. Kato successfully intercepted asteroid before he reaches the sun. The Gundams are safe. The Ogai Dekken Barton begins sending his Serpent army to Earth for the hostile takeover. Zax in the Tallgeese 3 tries to stop Dekken, but fails because Dekken threatened to drop the whole colony onto Earth. And we found out Dekken is the original creator of the Operation Meteor from the Gundam Wing TV series. The original Operation Meteor actually involves a colony drop, in addition to sending the 5 Gundams to Earth. The Gundam pilots were too late to stop Dekken's plan. Kato wants to send the Gundam to the Gundam pilots, but Hiro cannot wait. So Kato sends out Wing Zero for Hiro to pick up mid-space. Hiro knocks out Duo, so Duo gets captured by the enemy, which I'm not sure was necessary. The Marimaia army successfully takes over Brussels, and Wu-Fei waits in space for Hiro to come and fight him later. Hiro finds a high-speed jet, picks up Wing Zero mid-space. Using impressive space acrobat, Wing Zero starts flapping its angelic wings in the vacuum of space and flies towards Earth to save Relina. On Earth, Marimaia's army takes over, and Relina is sealed in the bunker as a hostage. The buildings moved underground, Evangelion style. As Hiro approaches Earth, Wu-Fei, who's been waiting I don't know how many days, intercepts and starts fighting Hiro, wasting everybody's time. Meanwhile, on the ground, Zax and Noi are fighting an army of serpents. They try to do so without killing the pilots, Kira Yamato style, but they're failing because they're not the main characters. Hiro is still trying to convince Wu-Fei, and he eventually gives up and just dives head first into the ocean, giving Wu-Fei the ultimate silent treatment. It actually worked. Duo, Trowa, and Katra eventually picked up their Gundams, and they arrived Brussels to help Zax and Noi, and were finally treated with some very well-drawn action scenes of the other 3 Gundams. I'd argue the fight scenes and the art are the strong points of Endless Waltz, not so much the story and the dialogue. Relina attempts to rally everyone, but fails. But then Emperor Penguin Dorothy shows up from nowhere and shamed everybody into protesting. Meanwhile, we find out Duo, Troll, and Katra are also trying to be Kira Yamato, and are starting to get their ass kicked. Hiro finally decides to get up from his silent temper tantrum and go back to his original mission. We see Wing Zero is heavily damaged, and I just want to remind you that the damages were not from fighting Wu-Fei, but from Hiro deciding to dive headfirst into the water. Meanwhile, Zax and the Gundams are struggling. Wing Zero finally arrives, somehow being more damaged than everyone else, and arrived way later, even though he left like a day earlier. But anyways, Wing Zero arrived barely alive and starts shooting at the bunker with Relina inside. Dekken and Marimaiya is freaking out because they realize they're dealing with a madman. In the end, the bunker is heavily damaged, and Wu-Fei decides to switch sides last minute and led the protesters from earlier to protest Marimaiya. It's super effective. Amidst the chaos, Relina cuts in front Lady An to bride slap the little girl. It's super effective. Everyone seems to forget there are enemy soldiers present, and Marimaiya saves Relina from being killed. Dekken is killed by a random soldier who also decides to switch sides last minute. Hiro arrives too late again and falls asleep. All of Marimaiya's soldiers gives up immediately. Duo, Katra, and Trowa finally achieve their dream of self-destructing the Gundam. And I just wanted to ask, why did they even bother sending them to the sun in the first place? On the other side of the world, Wu-Fei blows up Nataku and then immediately joins the Preventers. Are you sure you don't need the Gundams anymore this time? I don't think they learned their lessons. But anyways, it's a year later. Gundams are never to be seen again. Peace returns to Earth. Zax goes to terraform Mars. What? Marimaiya is now in a wheelchair. Duo continues his scrapyard business. Trowa goes back being a clown. I'm not sure what Katra is doing. I think he becomes a contractor or something. Hiro's in Shibuya. So I guess that's what I think about Endless Waltz. Feel free to share your thoughts with everyone in the comments. Hope you enjoyed it. Give this video a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.